In the late 1960s, in rural Arkansas, a man named J.B. Hunt would begin his journey in the trucking industry and change the world forever. J.B. Hunt didn't plan on creating a logistics empire. He was just trying to survive. This is the incredible rags to riches story of America's largest logistics empire. Johnnie Bryan Hunt was born on February 28, 1927 to Walter and Alma Hunt. His childhood was modest. Johnny was 10 years old when he would drop out of school, go and work at a sawmill to help his family make ends meet. Johnny would get into the trucking industry when he was 34 years old in 1961. By 1969, Johnny was working with local farms and operating under his own authority. The early years were brutal. The company lost money year after year, not because Hunt was bad at trucking, but because trucking wasn't a free market. In the 1960s and 70s, the Interstate Commerce Commission controlled the logistics industry. They decided who could haul freight, where they could haul it, and what they were allowed to carry. It was a predatory system that kept people out of the industry. Expanding meant permits, licenses, and costs Johnny couldn't afford. He tried transporting dry goods in 1971. The regulations crushed him. By the late 1970s, J.B. Hunt was bleeding cash and near the brink of collapse. That's when everything changed. On one fateful day in 1979, a lawyer called him to discuss a new bill that was being passed, the Motor Carrier Act, a bill that would deregulate the trucking industry and dismantle the Interstate Commerce Commission. Johnny was ready. Most companies in this time ignored the bill. Hunt didn't. He bet everything on it. Before the bill was even passed, Johnny would go on to buy a second trucking company, laying the groundwork for what J.B. Hunt would become today. While competitors relied on independent owner-operators, unionized labor, and bloated cost structures, Hunt built something different. Company-owned trucks, non-union drivers, fuel efficiency incentive, higher pay, and better working conditions. He began designing a company for a future that was uncertain, taking on debt and extreme risk. In 1980, the Motor Carrier Act passed. The industry changed overnight. Routes opened, restrictions vanished. Legacy companies began collapsing one after the other. But J.B. Hunt was ready. Within 1 year, Johnny went from losing money to becoming tremendously wealthy. His company would go on to hit $30 million in revenue in just the first 12 months. By 1983, J.B. Hunt would go public. While other trucking companies struggled, J.B. Hunt exploded. By the mid-1980s, profit margins exceeded 10%, nearly double that of unionized competitors. By the end of the 80s, J.B. Hunt would become the third largest carrier in America. But success created a new problem: drivers. By the late 1980s, the industry faced a massive driver shortage. Most companies began parking trucks, but Hunt decided to do something about it. Johnny decided to be more competitive. He increased what he was paying drivers, built terminals with showers, laundry rooms, and lounges. He promised to get drivers home more often, and then eventually opened a free driving school with guaranteed jobs. At the time, his board was speculative. His costs went up, but turnover collapsed, accidents dropped, and productivity soared. Johnny realized something that most competitors missed: logistics is a people business. Then came the decision that changed everything: intermodal transportation. Instead of fighting railroads, Hunt partnered with them. Trucks handled short hauls, trains hauled long distances. By the mid-1990s, intermodal made up nearly half of J.B. Hunt's revenue. Analysts of the day said the company was redefining logistics. Once again, Hunt moved early, and it paid off. In the late 1990s, trucking went through a technological revolution. J.B. Hunt was at the forefront of this. Before the invention of smartphones and GPS, J.B. Hunt had a brilliant idea in the 90s, using computers to communicate with drivers, and then using GPS to optimize routing. This system was called OmniTrax. Going into the late 90s, J.B. Hunt would become the first American trucking company to surpass $1 billion in revenue. They would go on to become one of the most successful carriers in American history. Today, the company is run by Shelley Simpson. They generate more than $19 billion in revenue annually, and the Hunt family remains one of America's most successful trucking dynasties, estimated to be worth north of $4 billion. If you enjoy this video, subscribe for more.